First race I played, well, the very first I played was Protoss and then Terran in StarCraft 2 Wings of Liberty. And then Zerg was the first race that I played super seriously for many years until I decided to start playing random down the track. Alright, guys. So, I really enjoyed that roach pressure into mutas, excuse me, that I did before. I feel like, especially if I can hide it until it gets to his side of the map, it's huge. The important thing is to not commit past his ramp. Even if they leave a depot down, you just chill. Because the moment you go up the ramp, you can get surrounded by drilly boys, and that's where suddenly Hellions can start stacking up really good splash. You can't pull your weak units to the back, and just in general, everything starts to fall apart. So that can be really nice. Pig, is everyone down under as relaxed as I am? I'm pretty uptight, mate, by most standards.
More minerals required.
I don't know. Aussies generally are relatively chill. We take it to a whole different level. I mean, it's not. Yeah, it also kind of depends where you go, right? Like most Aussies would say, people who live in Sydney. That's my city, which is the biggest, or it might actually be only the second biggest city now. But basically, it's one of the biggest. It's kind of the unofficial capital of Australia, right? And a lot of Aussies will be like, man, Sydney is so fucking high stress. Everyone is always worked up and shit. People are walking fast everywhere, and everyone's angry, and no one wants to speak to each other. Kind of like if you go from like New York to like Minnesota, right? Probably be like the same sort of thing. It's like, holy shit, people keep saying hello to me on the sidewalk and stuff. Like, this is fucking weird, man. It's freaking me out. You didn't need that overlord quite so quickly. But there we go.
Mineral quantity insufficient.
So we still build forlings, and we will pull a few dudes down. Where's the Reaper at? There he is. We're just saving lava right now. There we go, 6 roaches. That's the key number.
Swarm forces under attack. Not enough minerals.
Awesome.
More minerals required. Swarm forces under attack. Not enough minerals. Swarm forces under attack. Insufficient. Newly birthed. Swarm forces under attack.
God, I'm being a real cheeky arsehole, aren't I? Alright, building some overlords and just saving minerals.
Swarm forces under attack.
Rebuilding them.
Insufficient energy.
Little does he know, there are mutas on the way. Alright, let's go for 7.
Required. Not enough. Mineral quantity. Not enough energy.
So we're gonna hide the hide the mutas. So a few more drones just to get up to mostly 3-base saturation. Baited the stim out. And now it's just mass roach ravages from here.
As Swarm forces under attack. Mutation. Mineral cluster expended. Mineral swarm forces under attack.
Still got 4 mammoths alive. They're gonna go in there and start hitting that. Starting a fourth behind it.
Mineral field exhausted. Swarm forces under attack.
He's been using stims like crazy. And here comes a ton of +1 roach ravager. His bio is all stimmed down and deep in the red, and he's like, mother trucker, this some dirty boy strategies. GG's, I'm really enjoying this one, guys. That build is just fucking messing people up, isn't it? So I guess I'll give you guys a little quick walkthrough of that. I'm gonna save that replay up as well and throw it in the sub replay pack, so anyone who is subbed can find those, of course, in the Discord. Just need to make tries to burp while speaking. Just make sure you do sign up to the, make sure your Twitch and Discord are linked up and you can get into that otherwise locked chat channel in my Discord. ! Discord in my Twitch chat, anytime, even if I'm not live, and we'll give you the link for that, guys. So hatch first. And it's insanely powerful if I either kill the Reaper or he doesn't see the Roaches move out. And that's really what I was going for here. And in hindsight, someone who's really good at their micro, maybe I should make sure I build a full 6-lings to make sure I can chase the Reaper away. So normal hatch gas pool looks totally standard. Step 1 is going to be don't start ling speed and leave your dudes on gas. Now I pull 2 workers off minerals and send them down here to mine so that when the Reaper arrives, it looks like a normal build. If there's no drones here, they know you're still mining gas. They know you're potentially up to something. We don't want to ring the alarm bells. The only tell that something crazy is happening is that there's no third base. But you could be doing a Nidus, you could be teching in mutas, could be a slightly later attack. They don't know what's happening. So if you can kind of dance with them a little bit, it does really well. So you then go double queens, obviously Roach Warren. As soon as your spawning pool finishes, it's Roach Warren, Queen, Queen. And you just paused on 19 workers. You're not building any more drones. You then build 2 overlords if you didn't already build those 2 overlords. So I guess in supply counts, it's 20 Roach Warren, and then 19 because you lose the drone into the Roach Warren, Queen, Queen. Then build 2 overlords, and you want to build 6 roaches. Now what's really important here is obviously the way I tried to distract that Reaper. We used our overlord to see where the Reaper was, and I snuck my roaches out the right hand side. Now he was so close to seeing this last roach. We watched that whole little interaction there from his viewpoint. Now let's watch that from everyone's viewpoint. These roaches he almost spotted, and the last roach came back and just barely didn't see that roach. But we'd queued those roaches. Now this delays the pressure by a few seconds, what, 10, extra 10, 15 seconds at most to detour. But because he doesn't know what the fuck's happening and he's still super confused, he hasn't really been scouting that third, so he's not 100% sure. Some people just take a third a little bit later as well, so he's not able to react super hard straight away. And then suddenly, bam, there's roaches at your base. And, you know, he's like, oh, what the frack? And as I said, never go up the ramp with these roaches or he can surround you. You can go there, do not go beyond the wall, or he can raise the depot, trap you inside. The SCVs, Marines, Hellions together can fight you down. Notice we try to pull back weak roaches. We're trying to just kind of create as much pressure as possible. I killed a few SCVs, we're going to kill a few more, we're going to force the lift. We're just really disrupting him. But behind this, even when we're first moving out with those roaches, we were already making a lair, a second gas, and then droning as hard as we could. I actually went for this third and fourth gas only at the same time as the Spire. So what you want to do is you go drone, 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 lair straight into Spire when that finishes. You want to have the 200 gas. That's why you can morph 1 Ravager if you want with this attack, but that will slow down your Spire a little bit. Never make more than 1 Ravager. That's the maximum. And then you want to go for your third base before the mutas start. If you start your Mutalisks and still don't have a third, it's very easy for the Terran to look at that and just say, you know what? You don't have an expansion. You can't drone up. I just have to survive on 2 bases. That's all I have to do. The moment you have a third, not only does it allow us to drone that up and get a little bit of freedom with that, but it forces our opponent to be more wary of us macroing up. They need to be not just as focused on saying, oh, you're all inning on 2 base, we're going to defend that. And the way we like to do this is we do like to go to about 55 drones, 5 gases, so we can make a lot of Ravagers to hold on here. Notice we kept these slow Zerglings alive so that they could help defend against any Hellion run-bys like this, and they did get a few hits in here, which is actually quite valuable. A lot of people underestimate how helpful that can be. He gets a few drones, I'm focusing on re-droning them. This does delay my mutas just a little bit, but it's not the end of the world. And of course, we want to get just 1 round of about 6 to 8 mutas behind that. We're going to be droning our third, building an Evo chamber, going roach speed, +1 range, and then at about 55 drones, as I said, sometimes as low as 50, but usually about 55, 57, we'll be massing roaches. So the mutas want to dive in, get as much damage done as they can. In this game, of course, I picked off a lot of Marines because I just realized his anti-air was too weak, so I was like, oh, okay, we can just keep knocking the anti-air out, and this totally screws him because he can't really stabilize. Went to the natural, took a few missile turrets for a few more SCVs, and that kind of also baited him back into the mineral line. And bam, suddenly, hey, another turret kill, more SCV kills. You know, this is brilliant. Lots and lots of damage. And notice what I'll do is I'll often queue them to a safe spot or to somewhere else. And I know it's going to take them a lot of time to fly around the edges to this other spot. But during that time, I'm injecting at home. I'm making sure I've got my upgrades on the way. We've got that 5th gas. We're going to put a few workers on. And you can see just kind of bounce between those tasks. I should actually be queuing up even more overlords because roaches and ravagers use a ton. because you're at this unique timing window where they don't have good anti-air, they don't have like Stim, Medivacs, and tons of Marines or Thors, it's very hard for them to deal with the Mutalisks. So putting a bit more APM into this is fine. It's okay if you're floating a bunch of minerals, as long as you're not getting supply blocked and you're just building big rounds of Overlords, big rounds of Roaches and Ravagers. You can see here, just picking off what I can. I get a Marauder, so obviously I know a Marauder's going to be very good against my follow-up push. Bait another Stim out, and behind this we're going, okay, +1's done, Roach speed's done. Third base is at 11 workers on minerals, 3 on gas, 14 workers in the main, 15 in the natural. So none of these bases are quite fully saturated on minerals, just a little bit underneath. Ton of Roach Ravager. This gas bank is always really good. A lot of people go, oh, we've missed macro. No, you need that gas bank. I would often make like 14 Ravagers. In this case, I just made about 7, and I realized just from my mutas seeing how weak he was moving out to take a third. I knew all his bio was bruised. These mutas just kept doing damage, kept whittling down his forces. And you notice whenever he moves, I just queue them up. And I even queue move and attack there. And this was a bit of a mistake because they go in and die to the Marines, but it didn't matter. I was focused on the more important thing, which was the Roach Ravager running in and ruining his day. So that's a really good build order that I've just figured out. If they spot it coming, you're not going to get as much damage done with the Roaches, and you're going to rely even more on the Mutalisks. But either way, the idea of doing some Roach pressure, not overcommitting to it, and tech switching into mutas, it's a cheeky way of playing against Terran. They're still preoccupied with Roaches and stabilizing and putting on some counter pressure when suddenly Mutalisks are hitting them.